What's good? What's good? What's good? Oh man, it is crazy, crazy, crazy in the wacky, wacky world. Now, going for my morning walk while I get situated in my day. I was blessed to have my mother and aunties around. Yes, my mothers and aunties had a reunion at my house. It was fun. Now it's back to business. Hopefully, last night y'all saw the Steven Jackson video I did. We did put that out. We had a 5-hour live stream, which I gotta go back and check out. I don't know what was said at the third hour. I don't know. People have to make their own observations. But morning. Now let's get to why we're here. Hit the like button, people. You just got here. Stephen A. Smith was informed by his employers, his bosses, not to mention Moriah Mills on the show. First Take. First Take is not Stephen A. Smith's show. That show is the property of ESPN. So he cannot mention her on this show. And even though allegedly she has reached out to Stephen A. Smith to try to talk about her and get himself caught in there, ESPN has informed him not to mention this woman on that platform. Don't even bring it up. So he goes on his own show, the Stephen A. Show, which is on FanDuel. Moriah Mills is the adult film star Zion Williamson was caught up in. It has been getting a lot of attention because of it. And I don't even know if she's an adult film star. She was just an adult on film doing acts. Now, this is a situation that seems like it's gonna go to legal if it continues. And she does not care, even after being served a cease and desist to stop all mention of his name. Then, on top of that, instead of a cease and desist, they decided that they're going to sue for damages if she continues. So she goes and gets his name allegedly tattooed on her face. I don't know if it's permanent or whatever, but it seems to be some type of flaws there mentally. Now, Stephen A decides that FanDuel is the place that he could talk about it, right? But my thing is, why is Stephen A. Smith doing what he considers other YouTubers lame or not on the same level as? Why are they now, he's turning into YouTube? He got a whole show now on FanDuel where he basically blogs and talks about gossip, sports gossip, and things that ain't sports gossip. All of a sudden, this man who felt he was such a professional, he's a journalist, he got all this integrity, he got all these degrees. You did all of that to create a show where you talk about everybody else's business. Saying you see why Zion Williamson is always injured and got leg injuries. It's because he's sleeping around too much. I see why ESPN put the clamps on you and say, look here, boy. Don't you mention that name on there no more. And he told the line. He ain't finna cross the bosses. Why he even mentioned her? Because she was trending. See, he's become a thought for clickbait, like anybody else. All the people that's in the essential YouTube, you see, they have circled the wagons. And he's on the outside looking in. He's the old guy. So he's the face of ESPN. When you say ESPN, you think Stephen A. Smith. ESPN. Stephen A. Smith. ESPN. So now you let them take a white boy who never been on the network ever. They paying more for him to bring him to their station. Paying him damn near $100 million to come over there. Pat McAfee. They're paying him to come over to ESPN. And why? Why are they paying him? Does anybody know? Do they 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 know? They brought in Pat McAfee, because you've been there all the years. They brought in Pat McAfee, and he making about $100 million. He was on FanDuel with you. Left to come to ESPN with you. And he was getting more than you when he was on FanDuel. But your bosses, who you've been working for all these years, said you ain't worth the money. He worth the money. So they roll out the red carpet and they say what? Mm-hmm. No, but see, here's the thing. Stephen A. Smith could talk about everybody else's salary. Stephen A. Smith can talk about everyone else's salary. Can he or can he not? Pat had his own school, plus way more entertaining than Stephen A. Exactly, but you put in all this work. Do you think that's the reason why Stephen A. Smith is on all their flagship shows? Stephen A. Smith is worth more to ESPN than the 80, 100 million that they do. But instead of him saying, hey, I demand this or I'm leaving, I want out my contract. You see what Shannon Sharpe did? Shannon Sharpe is going to take his podcast show and go over to FanDuel, get him his show. He just got a merchandising deal. So Shannon is getting ready to build up his platform to go to another level where he don't have to do a debate show no more. He gonna do Club Shay Shay. He just has to get everything off of Fox's lot, and then he's gonna have to put it in another location. Get another setting. That's more who Shannon Sharpe is. But I'm quite sure they're gonna have some type of setting where he does a sports segment, which is pretty much similar to Undisputed. But can't be the same thing right away. Now, the reason for this activity is the simple fact that he cannot have, and he's not going to be allowed to have, another show right away, because during a buyout, there's normally a non-compete clause. So in your non-compete clause, it would say you can't do a similar show somewhere else for at least a year or sometimes 2 years, depending on the buyout agreement. So his show can't be similar to Undisputed, which is like a debate format. Now, he can do a sports show and find his way around that. It's harder to work for yourself? To a degree. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's better because you don't have other people in the way. Like when you want to get something done and you got other minds in the room, and this mind want to do something else and that mind want to do this. Oh, we're going to talk about what happened with Malika Andrews later, because there's more details to that. Dez Bryant came in there and asked questions, and so did other professional athletes, and other NBA basketball players chimed in on this. Oh yeah, I'll definitely get into that. This is what I was waiting for. No, not only them, the Charlotte Hornets organization was upset of the process of what they did, and to allow that on a show, that was pretty weird, where normally the National Basketball Association wouldn't allow something like that. That was allowed, which was very weird, because no one has mentioned it through the draft, pre-draft, anywhere. They weren't bringing this up on any shows ever involving this kid who had nothing to do with the situation whatsoever. Why would she be suspended for doing what ESPN wanted her to do? But we'll talk about that later. Now, ESPN decided that Stephen A. Smith, who they control, can't talk about Moriah Mills on the show anymore. Stephen A. Smith is not allowed to talk about Kwame Brown on ESPN's platform no more. Because every time he do, Kwame will light him up on social media and trend. And then his name will be trending right next to Kwame Brown. This is why they're afraid to say something about Kwame during this process. A lot of the best talent in the draft went later in the draft. You had Cam Whitmore, who everybody is surprised the Lakers didn't grab. And then you got Fino, who they did grab. He's got more swag than Cam. But Cam's a better basketball player than Fino. Period. So what were they thinking in that draft when they actually was in a great position to grab a good pick there? Because Cam Whitmore, for some reason, dropped as low as he did, which made no sense. Uh, well, I see Bryce being a better player than Bronny. But this is what I talk about when it comes to professional athletes. They immediately turn to a professional athletes. They immediately turn to a following dad footsteps. See that a lot. And I'm like, why would you want your son to go ahead and follow in this road where it's going to be a lot of pressure on them, and if they don't live up to the pressure, which they going to get compared to you no matter how much you don't want them to be, because Bronny, LeBron James Jr., in other words, is already intimidated. That's why his name is Bronny. He goes by the name of Bronny. He doesn't want to be called LeBron James Jr. So the pressure was already there. And then morning to you. No. Do you think Stephen A is going to go against company policy? Do you think Stephen A. Smith is going to, he's going to toe the line? They will suspend him for no reason, right? Then after being suspended for no reason, they'll come all the way back and say, okay, we suspended you for no reason. Now we're going to double back. And say it's okay. Stephen A has been suspended basically twice. But you got to know your value. ESPN is not the giant of sports anymore. There's more. Everybody's in the water now, chipping at the bits. They're not the number one home for sports and entertainment anymore. I don't know anybody that really still watches ESPN. None of their programming. Like right now, First Take is up because Undisputed is down. Skip's been on vacation hanging out with Lil Wayne. Like, I just sat down and talked to Lil Wayne for 2.5 hours. Whoop-de-doo. Lil Wayne seems to be the only person in the world who can stand him. But Lil Wayne's probably so messed up he don't even know you're there. Yeah, congratulations to Cam and Mace. Morning. Yeah, congratulations to them and their show. I watched a couple episodes when I was in the car going to the airport. I watched a couple of shows and I was like, it's pretty funny. Cam is the funny one. Mace is the laid back one who try to talk sense to him. But Cam just goes in. Well, yeah, I was spending time with moms now who just dropped into my house. So, yeah, my aunties, they just had a girls' night at the house. Yeah, my auntie from Dallas, my aunties from Florida, and then my other two aunties from the city. They just all got together, start hanging out, start wearing matching pajamas, start doing all kind of goofiness. It was funny. It was a lot of fun. The name of the show is It Is What It Is. But when Moriah Mills is trending, now she's boosted up her OnlyFans. So now she's making, without having to do anything really, she's on her OnlyFans making, somebody says she's making about $20,000 to $30,000 a month on OnlyFans. Now that's just, I don't know, I'm not on there, but yeah, some of them are actually saying that. Only 3 of them grew up in Chicago. Well, no, they all did at one point when they were younger. They said Malika Andrews' OnlyFans is on me. I would want to see Malika Andrews and her weird dancing. She's only about 78 pounds, soaking wet. Yeah, and I don't know who would date her. McMenamin, he could take her and run to the sunset. But nobody, and she's clearly making a case for herself of not being trusted by the athletes. They're not going to be trusting her too much more. Well, Stephen A. Smith had to try to check her on his show that time. And he was right to do that. He had to put a stand up. But, oh yeah, he got a talking to. Don't you talk to Malika Andrews like that again. You've been warned, boy. Don't you get out of line. Well, Jay Williams is in a negotiation with ESPN for a new show. If not, he can go over to Fox. He didn't like the terms of his contract or what he was being offered. Did Stephen A. Smith stick up for the brother, man? And said, hey, ESPN. Jay Will's my boy. Yo, this my show and I'm calling it. Jay Will, you gotta sign him. Now Max Kellerman, he had to go. You can't have 2 smart guys on the show. But he was right. Max is more in his element in a sports talking fashion, not normally in a debate mode. Max Kellerman is who you would get to kind of host Sports Center, not do a debate segment. So they give him like a 30-minute, don't they give him like a 15-minute segment on boxing because that's really his bread and butter? They said, you know what, I want to talk about boxing. That's your thing. Go do that. That's his thing. Max is better when he talks boxing. Of course he's better when he talks boxing. Why wouldn't he be? No, Stephen A is upset about that. He's upset that ESPN paid Pat McAfee that much money, and he's up there. Oh, I'm not mad at him. It's the era. It's the time. Okay, when your time comes, Stephen A, because it's almost time for your contract renegotiations. Let's see if they offer you more money than Pat McAfee. I told you. He keep talking about it's the timing. Okay, Mr. It's the timing. We gonna see how your negotiation skills are. You talking big money grip. You talking like you big money grip. We gonna see. Because at the end of the day, what you doing now is trying to make your show just like every other show out there. Now you want to go for hot takes and trending topics on your Stephen A. Smith show. So ESPN told you you can't mention Moriah Mills. You go on your show over there on FanDuel, first thing you want to do is talk about Moriah Mills and Zion Williamson because they were trending. But their show. So you go on your show, the Stephen A. Smith show, and think it's okay to do it over there. Now, if this girl ropes you in because she reached out to contact you, and you's like, I don't want nothing to do with her. I don't want nothing to do with none of this. No. They told you don't mention this girl. They told you not to mention Kwame Brown on the show. Then he gonna come out and say, I didn't know. I'm apologizing to Kwame Brown. I didn't know my words hurt him so much. So I'm not going to mention his name no more. You ain't mentioning his name no more because you was getting drugged through the mud. That's what you was doing. So, would I sign a deal with a big network? It all depends on what's the deal. At this point, it almost makes no sense. People look at the money. 60, 70, 80 million. You think you're getting that money? No. There's a lot of people that would have to be paid throughout that money. There are a lot of requirements that comes along with that kind of deal. What are some of the requirements? I'm glad you asked. Well, here's some of the requirements. When you're doing this type of work, one of the requirements is that you're on their clock, their schedule. They might want to bring certain guests on your show. They might want to promote certain advertisement on your show that benefits them and not yourself. You want to know, what you really want is control. You want to be able to control as much as you can when you sign these deals. The more control you give up, the less bargaining negotiation you have. See, Pat McAfee was able to maintain complete control. That's what he was able to get, his money and his control. Now, when you look at the whole lining of everything, you start to see the picture even more now. You say, okay, well, they got control over there. Great. Then what they doing over here? This is why Stephen A. Smith's show is on FanDuel. He's trying to boost this show up because he see this the avenue now. He's seeing, oh, Shannon Sharpe is coming here. He finna get a bigger deal than me. Shannon Sharpe is finna get a bigger deal than you, Stephen A. Smith. You've been doing this for how many years? Shannon Sharpe came in 2016 and is finna do your whole career. Everybody coming in finna do more than you. You the face of ESPN. So you gotta use an extortion play because they can't lose you to Fox. If they lose you to Fox, it's all over. He's the butt of ESPN. Yeah. Well, ESPN is trimming the fat as they letting go more people. Contracts are going to be over with. And you got all these athletes trying to find their way into another situation. And they see Marcellus Wiley. They see all these other former athletes just going to the internet, and they seem to be doing better. You don't have a lot of bosses to look up to and answer to. You can turn your house into a studio, and that'll be that. I never had those problems. He makes about $8 million a year. And quiet as kept, Shannon Sharpe was making damn near that, if not more. Which made him the highest paid. Like Maria Taylor, they put out the lie. ESPN did put out that lie saying she asked for Stephen A. Smith money so that people will go around and say, oh, she don't deserve that money. Now she's gotten that money from NBC Sports. She got the deal way better than the deal she had at ESPN. And she's never looked back and never had to go through that process of the unprofessionalism that she went through at ESPN. Oh, Rachel Nichols got her a show on Showtime Network. Why? How would she get a show on Showtime Network? With all the controversy she's done? Oh, and the reports isn't good about bringing her show back, as the ratings for Rachel Nichols' show is damn near terrible. Nobody's watching it. No, she became a Karen when she got the NBA. She ran off anybody who the NBA players started to like, because the NBA players used to like Jemele Hill. And then Jemele Hill, when they was trying to get rid of her and they was going all the politics, Trump wanted her gone. Next thing you know, all the left wingers decided, no, we got to keep her. Well, they were getting ready to put together an act to say ESPN was sexist. So this is why Qerim Champion is just, she's somebody that lashes out. You know, she don't handle the situation quite well. Like, there's a way to handle it. Qerim Champion doesn't handle it very well. She's snappy on everybody. So she had that reputation. Angry black woman. So, angry black woman was her label. So they're not going to hear anything you say, because now you sound like just an angry black woman. Well, you grow up with the stigma of what she did. You see, most black women, depending on where they are and where they grew up, they was always made fun of for being darker, which makes no sense, but that was done everywhere. It's always a dark-skinned joke. There's always some type of put down. So they become real snappy. If somebody keeps dissing you for something, you gonna come back snapping. You gonna have your replies ready to fly. So that's why you see people like Qerim Champion, they have such a short temper. For anybody who is ostracizing them for different reasons. She probably got teased a lot growing up. There was a lot of different reasons as to why certain things and certain elements took place. But when you start looking at the gist of everything, you start to figure things out even more clearly, because you have several different people keep coming up with different or the same notions, right? And you might say, well, what are those notions? And I say, it's clear. Well, the gist of the matter is clear. People are going to do what you think they aren't going to do. Well, if you got a job, like let's say you're working at Walmart, you got to follow the codes and conducts of Walmart, right? Obviously. Let's say you're working at a Ben and Jerry's. You're going to probably have to follow the codes and conducts of Ben and Jerry's. People never cease to amaze me, you know. Like, the more people step out, the more others step in. Well, Jemele Hill, her looks wasn't a problem. Her views started to change to fit more of a left-wing agenda. Well, my thing is try to work to silence. Work towards silence. Where you could step away from everything and just relax and enjoy the fruits of your labor. You could be in a nice neighborhood where birds are chirping, everybody's quiet, nobody bothering nobody. That's the way I like it. Right, we just all sit here, relax. Very nice environment. Nobody bothering nobody. We just all in our neighborhood, relax. So you want to work towards that one day. Now, there's black folks over here. We always find each other. We walk around, I go, yo, hey, there's one. All right, this house here. You go down, they got my back. And you got another one on the other side. And on the other side, there's another. You couldn't pay me to live in Arizona. That's a little too hot. You couldn't have me living on a desert. Yeah, well, society tells you what's good and what isn't good. So if you know, well, man, this was good over here, now it isn't good anymore. What used to be good, yesterday's price ain't today's price. Well, first of all, Stephen A. Smith is 60. All right? We're talking about a 60-year-old man. And being a 60-year-old man, this dude is walking around here. He was out of shape. Now they tell you, hey, you got to spend more time on your health, dog. So he's going out there trying to, because he was sleeping at airports, dog. Stephen A. Smith used to be sleeping at airport, laid out, snoring up the planes. So now, and he had to travel with the crew. Now they went and got his adenoids taken out, so now he can breathe. So now he's sleeping better, and saying that was part of his unhealthiness. And now he's eating better. But his doctor informed him that his health was not up to par. So now, since his doctor has provided this information, that he told him, like, you better start working out. But that's why he got a guy in there and got him doing physical therapy, getting them punches up, because he was just sitting around getting out of shape. And then they running him from one side to the other side. Oh no, they always got the yellow cars. Every car, yellow and black. The yellow and black house. You said I had to just work for myself. Yeah, sometimes it depends on what you do for a living. Working for yourself might just be the best option for you. That's why I tell people, don't own a house if you don't know how to work on a house. If you don't know how to do any work on a house, don't own a house. Because you're going to spend so much money in trying to maintain a house. That's what breaks you. Anybody can buy a Mercedes, BMW, Audi. Anybody can. That's not what's going to break you. What's going to break you is the maintenance. Can you afford the maintenance? That's what's going to break you. When you got to pay $300 for an oil change. Right, so the maintenance is what kills you. Let me go this way. The maintenance is the one that normally takes you down. So if you don't know how to take care of a house, saw anything, put stuff together, then you probably shouldn't own a house. Just saying. Because you see these people, I ain't gonna put them on blast, but rappers, entertainers buy homes like these expensive mansions and tear them up. Tiger. But we won't go down these tropes. There have been others. They don't know how to maintain these homes. So the house get ran down. They don't clean it properly. They don't know how. When you go from the hood to a mansion, these people don't know what they're doing. Why would you say that? Kwame Brown has been taking care of his home. And don't you see him on a tractor? How many of y'all know how to work a tractor? Don't you see him in his garage working on stuff? Well, it's hard to maintain a chick when you can't maintain your finances. When you in super debt every single year, there's people that can't even maintain their grass. Now, why you can't maintain your grass? Sounds simple enough, don't it? Well, the bottom line is Stephen A. is always going to be under control of the company and the organization because they have rules and regulations. When you sign that contract and you're thinking about the money and you ain't thinking about what your actual value is. Now he's trying to build up his brand at 60 by building up the Stephen A. Smith podcast show. You should have did that 4 or 5 years ago. But you didn't. You went down the wrong side of the street. You went the safe route where you just want to be handed a paycheck. Here's my check. So that's what they did. They gave you a paycheck, gave you rules. Because you didn't want to believe and bet on yourself. Marcellus Wiley, Fox came with a check. Said, hey man, we still want you for other things, man. We got a check for you. And he's like, nah, I'm good. But thanks for thinking of me. You see, when you're in that position, when you can do that, that's enriching. So you can sit back and say, do I want to go through that again? Dealing with all these bosses in the back? Because you think you got one boss? No, you got about 7 bosses. And each one of those bosses' words count. And then one boss might be mad at another boss. Then you got a production chief. Hey, you got a production chief that's mad at the union chief. And your first assistant director of the program don't like the way the show is looking, and they're arguing with the other execs. One girl in the back says she didn't like the way you don't say hi to her. Now she's on a podcast show, or she's writing a memoir. You got to understand that this is a whole different era than where we were 20 years ago. Anybody can have a boss, but you want to be in an environment where it's kind of controlled, where one person you could talk to get something done. You don't want to have to go through a circus of, am I going to talk to this person, that person, this person over here? You don't know which way to go. That's weird. My neighbor just drove all the way around and made an S instead of drive straight. She might be on that something. Yep, so shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life. He's probably live right now, if I know him. Don't forget to subscribe to him. Welcome to HDTV. Seahawks Jose Rodriguez. Get that up and cracking. And then, I don't know if you guys, I didn't get a chance to upload the Patreon yesterday with the Tyler Perry contract with Fox. I'm going to do that when I get in the house. Stephen A. Smith is 39. Yeah, right. 39 to the fifth power. Molly is annoying. Well, her thing is, this is what I didn't like. They didn't fight for Kerry Champion, right? Stephen A. Smith didn't fight for her at all. He sat there like a good boy and kept his mouth shut. And meanwhile, Molly can come in, say what she want to say, have her voice, and they fight for Molly. Molly can say anything she wants, even though her comments mean absolutely nothing to the conversation whatsoever. The conversation that be going on, they be, oh yeah, so what they gonna do when they put the 3-4 defense in there? You know they don't do well against the 3-4. Oh, what are you talking about? When they go to the 3-4, they just gonna hit Kelsey over the top in the middle. I mean, when they go in there, oh my God, it's just going to be like old Arrowhead Stadium all over again. I remember when I was in Kansas City and they had this barbecue. It was amazing, you know, and I think the fans are going to be ready. They're going to be full of energy. You know, that barbecue sauce just gets everyone enthused. And yeah, we'll be back after these messages. So, she'll go home and do some homework, right? She'll read something on the internet, write it down, like one line, and go into the show like, oh, and I read like in Pittsburgh, when he was in Pittsburgh, he also was the volleyball captain on the team. It'd be like, that was in the summer. That has nothing to do with this game. It's like, why is she here? Yeah, when she was with Jalen Rose, Jalen was like trying to teach her how to research and give her things to say. So she was trying to get smart on the show. That was funny. Well, she did work hard. She worked hard to try to prove, you know, she's not stupid. And now you got Malika Andrews, who completely proved she don't deserve that spot. Well, everybody was rooting for her. And they kind of introduced her during the pandemic. Everybody's like, oh, look at her. They're giving the young girls, you know, a shot. Now it's like, she got to go. Seriously. It's like, she's got to go. Ellie Duncan, well, they had to promote Ellie Duncan because, one, her husband didn't play that. Two, at the time, Ellie Duncan was covering some other sports, and she's actually very talented at her role. So, she puts the work in. I don't know. They got to figure it out. Hannah Storm, right. But she never was an ESPN girl. She was an NBA hire. So she was like inside the NBA. But now since they have this deal with ESPN, like ESPN didn't really bring on Malika Andrews. It was more so the NBA inserting her. So she gets their flagship programs. She don't have to work Sports Center. She don't have to do all the other jobs and chores that Stephen A. Smith has to do. See, Stephen A.'s contract is consistent of the fact of you have to do what we say do. Your contract, when your contract is consistent with, you got to do what we say do. You move how we say move. And if we need you to fill in at 5 p.m., you got to get up and get in at 5 p.m. You might do your show, ready to go home, get some sleep. Get that. No time for that. You got to get up. You got to go on head to the office and do your thing. Maybe like, oh, so-and-so is sick. Well, they on vacation this week. Stephen A., yeah, you're up. I got to get up. Yeah, right now. No time like the present. Get up. No time to waste. Yep. Zach Levine. Why is he gets way too much mention. I'm out.